A pleasant day to each and everyone. Before anything else, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jacinth Balasanos, and I am here in front of you to discuss and to tackle about figures of speech. Now, what is figures of speech? So, figures of speech are words or phrases that depart from straightforward literal language. So figures of speech are often used and crafted for emphasis, freshness, expression, or clarity. Okay, so types of figures of speech. So I have listed 8 figures of speech here. However, there are many types of figures of speech. So I only listed 8 because these 8 are the basics of figures of speech. So we have their simile, metaphor, alliteration, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, personification, idioms, and oxymoron. So each of that we will be tackling. Okay, the first one is simile. So a simile is the comparison of two unlike things using like or as. So we have there an example. So he dances like a robot. So that means nga the subject is compared to a robot. So, and we use like to link the two subjects. So he dances like a robot. The second example there is you are as pretty as the moon. Okay, so that means the subject is as pretty is compared to a moon, and we use as for the comparison. Okay, so next is metaphor. A metaphor is the comparison of two unlike things or expression, sometimes using the verb to be and not using like or as. So in the previous slide, we have tackled that simile is the comparison of two unlike things using like or as. Now in metaphor, it serves the same thing. However, it doesn't use like or as. So for example, we have there, he is a pig. So it's a straightforward comparison without using like. For example, we can say, he eats like a pig. Diba? That's a simile. However, if we will try to change that into a metaphor, we can say, he is a pig. So we directly say that the subject is a pig without using like or as. Or he eats like a pig. He sleeps like a pig. So that is simile. However, if metaphor, there are no like or as. Okay. The third one we have there is alliteration. Now, alliteration is the repetition of initial consonant sounds of neighboring words. So in other terms, we can call this somehow tongue twister. So we have there an example. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. So that's a famous tongue twister, right? So with that sentence, a given phrase there, Sally sells seashells by the seashore, we can notice that the initial letters are S. No, that is all S. Sally sells seashells and by the seashore. So that is alliteration. So we're just repeating the initial consonant sound of neighboring words. So next is onomatopoeia. So what is an onomatopoeia? Is a word that imitates the sound of it represents. So for example, the chiming of the bells. So of course, we can hear that bells chimes, right? So that's why we use chiming of the bells. Next is the boom of the explosion. So explosions go booms, right? So that is why boom of the explosion. Or the buzzing of the bees. So the sound of the bees are buzzing, bzz, like that. So we are using buzzing of the bees. So that is onomatopoeia. We're just simply imitating the sound of which word it represents. Next is hyperbole. Now, a hyperbole is an exaggeration or an overstatement. So that means we are exaggerating things. It's an overstatement. So atong gipalabian. So for example, Nisa wept a river after she heard the sad news. So Nisa wept a river. So she cried. Her tears turned into a river. So of course, that is an exaggeration or an overstatement. No one can cry that much. So however, we use a river, to give emphasis that Nisa really is sad, and she cried a lot about the sad news that he heard. Next is she had a mountain of laundry to do. So of course, we use mountain of laundry to give again, to give emphasis that she has plenty of clothes, many clothes to wash, and we use mountain to describe how much work she has to put on her laundry. Okay. Next is personification. So personification is giving human qualities to things that are not human. So for example, the trees dances as the wind passed by. So of course, trees doesn't have feet, doesn't have hands to dance. However, we use it. Trees dances as the wind passed by, and the trees are like swaying, like dancing as the wind passed by. So we give human qualities to the trees. So the trees dance. Next is the sun smiled at me. So of course the sun doesn't have lips to smile, so it gives emphasis that the sun is shining towards me, shining towards the earth, and it smiled to me upon shining his sunshine to us. So that is personification. Next is idioms. So an idiom is a saying that means something different from what it says. So for example, it's raining cats and dogs. So when we will try to examine that idiomatic expression, it's like, what? It's raining cats and dogs? Oh no. That idiomatic expression means that it's raining very hard. It's like raining cats and dogs. So it's raining very hard. Next is a piece of cake. So I think we have already heard this idiomatic expression most of the time. A piece of cake. That means can easily be done or easy to do. So if you have a task to be done, you will just simply have to say it's a piece of cake. So that means it's just easy to do, so I can do it. Next is break a leg. So that break a leg means good luck. So when somebody goes to a competition, we say go break a leg. So that doesn't mean that he will literally break his leg and injure himself. That simply means to good luck or to do good on your competition. Next is call it a day. So call it a day means to stop working on something. So the work is done, or the work is adjourned, and we will do it again or continue to that next day. Okay. The last one is oxymoron. Now oxymoron is a figure of speech in which apparently contradictory. So we have there an example. So awfully good. So that two words are contradicting with each other. Awfully and good. So we have there bittersweet. So bitter and sweet. Same difference. Original copy. Pretty ugly. So that is oxymoron. Somehow the two words that are contradicting with each other, when they are combined together, somehow it makes sense. So it's an original copy. So, or it's pretty ugly, like that. So it makes sense even though they are apparently contradictory with each other. So those 8 are the figures of speech that we have tackled. So I hope you have understood, you have catched what I have tackled, and thank you for listening.